our next panel discussion, named Technology Makes the World Go Round. As you may realize, the inspiration for this name comes from the money makes the world go round, and that's because this panel discussion is devoted to the finance sector and technology impact on that sector. I would like to introduce our moderator, Professor Goran Pitić, and he would present you all his panelists.
Thank you very much. I hope that we can hear each other now. It has been obviously a long day and there is some time delay, but we'll try maybe to catch up. I'll just try to see if we have all panelists now with us. I think we are waiting for Dubravka, Gorana and Branko, they are here. Yes, hello everybody. And from Belgrade, I don't know who is listening us today, but I guess it's either good afternoon or good morning. I don't know exactly, depending upon where you are today. We have really first a nice topic to discuss in this dinner time, and we have really special panelists today, dear colleagues and friends, and I'm sure we're gonna in this friendly dialogue try to identify some topics of interest for a broader audience. Whilst waiting for Dubravka to join us, let me just briefly say that today with us we have Gorana Rašić. Gorana is, here is Dubravka as well, bravo. Gorana is CFO and board member responsible for IT in Generali Insurance here in Belgrade, in Serbia. Dubravka is head of European Investment Bank. I was wondering, still, I guess in the region, Dubravka, if I'm correct, sorry for asking you via direct media channel. And Branko, Greganović is, he is president of executive board of NLB, Nova Ljubljanska Banka. I'm really glad that you are today here, that I can be in this privileged position to moderate this discussion. Let me just say maybe just a few intro remarks, and then we'll go straight to some questions for discussion. And I'll try, and I will really ask you to be as precise and as brief as possible regarding the time pressure that we are having. We're having 35 minutes. And we'll try to use it at our max speed and max, hopefully, content. I will share with you maybe some of my thoughts at the beginning, just to abuse this position of moderator and saying 2-3 minutes. How do I see today's position? I was following some of the panels today at this fantastic conference, really, and I was really enjoying some of the panels that unluckily they didn't last longer than it was timely defined. And I'm sure that we're going to repeat some of the questions that have already been risen in these panels, because more or less these are similar topics depending on the industry. We are talking about technology, we are talking about uncertainty, we are talking about future, we are talking about the diversity, we are talking about how to make this game more fair, not only in the sense of today's topic, in a sense of that AFA is organizing regarding women participation, but in the sense of technology, I would say how the technology will be distributed around the world, and the number of issues of technology is obviously rising once thinking about that. But let me start with there is always like yin and yang. I mean, there is always one side of the coin and the other one. So we are today witnessing this huge pressure of uncertainty, and obviously uncertainty is the key word today in today's world. It's not a new one. I mean, let us remind us on the crisis of 2007-8 that has already brought us in a type of, I would say, novelty in the world that all businesses had to somehow adapt themselves, adjust, make them more agile, and try to find, I would say, new ways for getting out of the turbulent times. But I would like to put another toss of the coin, that is certainty. There is some certainty in this world. and I'm really fascinated by this certainty. The certainty is that there is hyperconnectivity. The new technological development has brought this certainty that we are connected more than ever in this world. I would say the second certainty that is not maybe the positive one, but the human being is trying to move forward, is that adaptive capacity to absorb this exponential technological development today is linear. We have linear absorption capacity of human being, and it's the question how to upgrade this linear capacity. The third one, it's always like, you know, half glass. Is it full of or empty? Uncertainty brings a chance and brings a threat. So we are having disruptions. We are overburdened or privileged to witness this tremendous development of disruptions in all industries. And that's why we're going to talk a bit about that. We are watching and observing that there are changes in value propositions, in supply chains, in channels of distribution, in sales, in revenue streams. Digital business models are all around us, and I'm sure that's going to be one of the topics for us. And let me just, for the broad audience, say that we are, I would say, all of us actually in this financial industry, and the financial industry was a front runner of these changes. And it has started pretty years ago, and I'm sure that all of you are at your top agenda, at the top having issues like digital types of things. But I'm sure that this competitiveness framework has changed. So once bringing this issue, I'll go now to the topic, and first question that I would like Gorana maybe to bring us more details. Actually, insurtechs, like fintechs, that will be a question for Branko, is also the area in which there are so many things happening. They are very attractive for capital investments. They are enabling those insurtechs to design greenfield IT architectures. They are in a situation to give them maybe some significant technological advantage compared maybe to those that are already existing in the industry. There is some research, of course, we're all using some type of figures. Let me just bring one that McKinsey was finding in the research, that approximately 66% of insurtechs specialize in select parts of the value chain, and that 10% are maybe trying to change the business model. So Gorana, having this framework in which obviously there are things so constantly changing and so I would say aggressively changing, where is the insurance industry in this context? And bringing and linking with the topic today, how you are in your company challenging those issues, how you are coping with those issues, and where some type of I would say famous diversity is bringing maybe some advantage or some I would say benefits for functioning of your company. So let's start with you, and then we'll move forward with the other participants.
And thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I'm very glad to be in this panel, in this perfect gender balance panel with 2 female and 2 men participants. Yes, you are right that the insurance industry is changing rapidly, and among all other changes that we are facing now, of course, there is digital transformation and technology transformation. Now, insurance is driven more on behavior of our customers, not only on statistics and predictions like our old models. We are focused more in behavior of our customers and their expectations. So we are using now telematics, domotics in order to provide the best offer possible for our customers. But this brings us to new subject, new era of insurance, and this is customer centricity. It's not only enough to run technology and digital improvement and innovations today. We believe in insurance that we need 3 other steps to take. And there we come with also gender balance. First of all, we really need real customer care, real empathy, real emotions to show to our customers. This is insurance of the future. They don't need only perfect products or distribution channels. They need real care. Our customers like to be treated like humans, and we need to care about them. Second, and very important, is to adjust our supply channels and distribution channels. We also need to adjust our communication with the clients. Yes, we need and we will have digital tools to communicate, but we still need to be there for them. They need our advisory. So we need to adjust this new business model. And third, very important also is creativity. We need to find some creativity to offer something extra in addition to real insurance products. So among those three, we see two characteristics that are more found in female coworkers. This is empathy and creativity. This is also some research. It's not my opinion. This is based on research. So it's obvious that among three important tasks, we have two female-oriented characteristics. We need to learn that we need both genders more. I mean, insurance industry, me personally, and our company. And what we are doing. And
I mean, just I may disagree a bit on that. I'm very much fond of supporting, I would say, diversity, but women also having empathy and creativity. So just let me defend our population. But I agree with you, of course, and thank you for raising this issue. So what are you doing actually in that sense?
I'm already explained that this is not my opinion. This is based on some research. And by the way, I also think that you have shown great empathy and emotions and creativity, but there are some statistics behind. And you know that insurance business is based on statistics. We live statistics and we earn from statistics. But in this gender balance, I'm afraid that insurance statistic is not good. Worldwide, another research says that 57% of population in insurance are female workers. This is good. This is more than average. This is better than other industries. And this is the first point. Second point, even better, perfect match in supervisory boards is 50-50. Supervisory boards of insurance companies in the European Union are 50-50. This is a fact. But why? Because law says so. Law says it has to be balanced. So here we are perfect. But everything in between, supervisory board and total number is not so good. Right. Only 28% of C position in insurance industry in the world are female. And this is something that we have to do something about that. What we do in Generali, in the last 5 years, we have a very strong diversity and inclusion strategy. And it's not just a strategy, we are really working on it. And I'm a perfect example on that. I'm one of 26 women around the world who are part of diversity and inclusion strategy. And what we are doing, we understand also, it was said today on some other panels, that female leaders have different knowledge about technology and digitalization. This is one topic, but we also want to discover why is this statistic like that? Do we have the same chances? Do we have same knowledge, same courage to go furthermore? So we discovered that we need to learn a little bit more, not only about technical knowledge, not only about education, but also on personal development, on our self-awareness, also political savvy, and all other important things that the leader need to have today. So this is what we do today. And what I'm doing personally in our company as ambassador of diversity and inclusion, I'm showing that this way is possible. I really believe that I'm a board member not only because I'm a woman, but because I'm good. I used many years to learn and to prove that I have certain knowledge.
We are glad. We are glad. Actually, you are really doing that at the level of ambassador. You are really presenting that at that level, and obviously, Generali is having benefits of that. Let me move a bit to the banking sector and moving now to Branko. Because like InsurTechs, we have here fintechs and not only that, I mean, banks and financial industry is heavily regulated industry and being hardly hit by the crisis in 2007-8, after which there have been a number of, I would say, variations of how to innovate and how to move towards some maybe new business models. And like magic word is digital. Right? Everybody believes if you are doing the things on a digital way that you're gonna find a way how to surf in this turbulent times. Branko, we are witnessing neobanks, fintechs, new wordings. I would say it's not more competition or cooperation; it's co-petition. So we are a bit playing with words, but this is a tough game. Bill Gates liked to say. For the future, there is no doubt that the banking will survive, but will banks survive, right? So how do you see the future of banks? How do you see that future bank having in mind this technological development on one side, and what Gorana was mentioning, this customer centricity, I would say, as obviously as the major or keyword once a number of companies are trying to approach to the new customer. So who is the new customer for the banks? And how do you see the future employee as well? Because I would say maybe and tend to challenge a bit what Gorana is saying, that yes, it's the customer, but it's also the employee. We have to think about employee as well inside that obviously you're doing in Generali, but I think both future customer and I would say future employee may be crucial element for novelties in development of the banks.
Hi, Goran. Hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to this exclusive panel. Let me start actually building on what Gorana has just said. I think the future of any business, including banking, is indeed feminine in a sense that it will definitely require much more compassion, much more empathy, much more ethical behavior constraints, much more value-driven type of thinking and practice than in the past, when the business was really dominated by quite, if you look back now, seriously shallow type of Hollywood punchlines like greed is good and everything like that. I think the time for this kind of thinking, which is kind of extreme type of, if you wanted, a bit of stereotype, masculine thinking, is over. I think we definitely are facing, also because of the technological changes and technological advances, the challenge of acting in a more ethical, compassionate, empathy way, simply because that's the only way to deal with artificial intelligence. I'm not going to go now to the discussions which are going on now around the world, but I think the ethical behavior, empathy, purpose, is really at the center of the future business model, simply because there's not going to be any other way to deal with the challenges which are brought about by artificial intelligence. So if you go to the question of customer, yeah, I think the customer has always been objectively at the center of whatever we do, whatever the business does, including, of course, the banks, or even especially the banks. However, what changes is not so much that fact, but the fact that in the digital world, the bargaining power of customer increases immensely. Suddenly, customer has all of the choices. Suddenly, customer has more information than we have. Suddenly, customers are not captive audience anymore, especially, I would say, for banks. And banking is one of the last industries facing this challenge and having to deal with this challenge. A lot of the industries have come through that during the last 20, 25 years. For example, media. Media is a typical example, and we can find others. Media industry has already transformed immensely under pressure of technology and the pressure of social media coming in, and of course is not comparable to anything like 25 years ago, where the paper-based type of newspapers and media and print media, actually also in advertising side have dominated the scene. Now banking, it's banking turn, and it's very, very difficult also for the banks, frankly, to deal with that. We have over the last 250 years somehow grown to kind of be used to situation in which we control the customers, in which customers are captive audience, and that's changing now. Customers moving to digital virtual environment, being able to collect all of the information, being able to learn and compare banking also to other industries, and requiring the same customer experience from banking as they can already enjoy for 10, 15 years in other industries, represent a major challenge for banks. And let's say that, I think incumbents generally in banking have serious problem to deal with that, you know, and that's, there are two reasons for that. Firstly, the mindset, you know, it's simply difficult to change the mindset, and whatever we do, you know, can happen only within the constraints and the limits of our mindset. And we are still, most of our cultures, most of our business models are still based on the business model and mindset, on the mental models of the past. And I think that's the major problem the banks are facing, and that's why I also think the banks are really having, the traditional incumbent banks are having great difficulty to move into the right direction, great difficulty to make the right decisions, especially on the side of investing in digital business model. And in that sense, I tend to agree with Bill Gates. I think that banking definitely will survive. However, I think we will see a lot of incumbent banks, even the big names of today, failing within next, I don't know, 20.
Branko, please let me interrupt you, and this is just interaction that any of you can jump in either during its term or even during discussion. I mean, you are reflecting to one thing that obviously everybody is addressing now as a major either advantage or barrier. It's mindset. Whoever is talking about any transformation, change management, we are coming to the culture. We are coming to the organizational culture. We are coming to the mindset. So think all of you, maybe just having 1 minute at the end, think about, give us some tricks, give us some leads, how you are dealing with changing the mindset in your companies. So I think it's worth exchanging the thoughts on this side. You don't have to do it now, of course. You can start, but maybe I will go further with Dubravka on the questions, on some other questions. But if you want now to jump in, just maybe first thoughts on that. And how do you see that there is this empathy as an issue that both of you have been addressing as maybe more winning style approach that is bringing more understanding? And I would say, I guess we all of us are having really very, very solid experience in having this empathy when having big challenges ahead of us. Is it something that diversity is helping in that sense?
I'm sorry, are you asking me, Gorana, or Branko?
Oh, it can be Branko, you, of course, Dubravka, but maybe with Branko, let's make the first circle, and then I would like also Dubravka to have at least first round. Branko, please.
Yeah, but the mindset, how to change the mindset. I wish I had an answer to that to explain in 30 seconds. But that does not mean I'm not working on it. I'm working on it. I still do not have.
Okay, work in the meantime, and then we'll have it first, because we'll try to use the time in the best manner. Dubravka, you are heading the institution that is very much present, of course, in a major infrastructural project, and one of which, for me, I think it's really crucial for making the necessary ground for ideas, for new, fresh thoughts, for embracing this technological development. And it's almost impossible to think how the companies can work without having technological infrastructure. I know that you are dealing currently with some technological parks. You're investing a lot. What is your feeling? Where are we now, for instance, in Serbia regarding famous transition from investment-driven to innovation-driven economy, if I can put it this way? And how you as a bank are ready to measure the effectiveness of this investment? How are we going to see at the end of the time, once you're going to put your investment in these parks or wherever in technological infrastructure, when you're going to be satisfied to see that this has been worthwhile?
Thank you, Goran. And I would also like to greet all the participants and to thank to the organizers for inviting me to speak on this important topic. Well, yes, you mentioned some of the investments we are involved in, and this doesn't date back to yesterday. In fact, I think that the Serbian government some time ago already has recognized the necessity to invest in public sector research institutes in order to make the necessary link between science and industry, which is highly needed in a post-socialist country such as Serbia is, and all ex-socialist countries have or suffer this legacy of disconnection between science and industry. So providing a base, providing an ecosystem, but also the necessary infrastructure and equipment for scientists, either in electronic faculties, be it in Belgrade or in Niš, where we are involved with our investments that have been put into practice recently, or be it in technological parks, where you do create a space where entrepreneurs, especially those young ones that don't have access to necessary funds yet, where you can basically help them get their ideas rolling at competitive terms by having that ecosystem being created, and by them being able to exchange with others that are in similar need, does help to get to that transition. It's absolutely necessary for Serbia, in my view, in order to find its competitive edge compared to even countries in the region that are maybe smaller, so don't have the necessary, if you want, a scale to go that road necessarily, or it may be more challenging, or to get inspired by the model of some Nordic more recent European member states that have been very successful in that, if you want, transition to the technology and innovation and creating those hubs. For example, Estonia being one example that then can attract a lot of FDIs, that then can also provide platforms for diversity, that can encourage female students into technological or technical sciences or studies. So it's a process. It's a process that involves the society at large, that involves academic circles, entrepreneurs, local authorities, and society at large, as the products to be developed in these new centers of science need effectively to meet their end users in the market in order to prove successful. Now, if we speak about effectiveness and how to measure the effectiveness of these investments and how they make on what impact they make on the society and economy as a whole. Well, what I can say is that after merely a few months since opening of some of these science and technology parks, I must say that they are already, or gradually, but still quite quickly, positioning back Serbia on the global map of innovation. And what we have seen by visiting some of these facilities is that, for example, the new laboratories at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, where we have seen equally as many women as men, believe it or not, to my also surprise. It provides a platform where actually companies can conduct their research that has not been possible in the past, simply, and in the areas which are quite high technology, be it artificial intelligence, which we have witnessed, or virtual reality, or industrial automation, or biomedicine engineering, environmental protection. And if I may say, and some of the technology parks, like for example, the one in Belgrade, has proven to be effective also during the pandemic. It has, for example, managed to produce the first Serbian ventilator has been constructed there, as well as the protective personal equipment against COVID-19. Or in Innovation Center in Niš, a startup company operating in this center developed a thermal counter for non-contact temperature measurement and disinfection that has already found its application in many buildings, not only in Serbia, but also
Dubravka, do you believe that what you are saying, it's really encouraging, I have to say, and I'm so frustrated, if I can put this word, that these things are not broader disseminated and be put in front of the public as a real topics for the development of the society. But so in that sense, really, I have to say there are so many novelties for me that you are mentioning now. Do you believe that this can provide a bit of some scaling effect from this side? Is this the platform that can really contribute to some economy of scale and scope in the future? What is Higgs boson that is needed now to boost this type of, I would say, some platform like you and the others that are doing in this field? How to connect the puzzle?
Yeah, well, that's actually the most difficult part. Precisely. I think, well, I'm certain that there are those good examples. They may be, you know, drops, but they are important drops that out of which you can create a lot of scume, if I can say, or a lot of, you know, content. But it's not easy, in fact. I think okay, from financing point of view, and I will concentrate to that, there are many aspects. There are legislative aspects. There are aspects of human resources, human skills, academia in terms of, let's say, having trainings necessary for students that still need to be encouraged, maybe more across universities in Serbia. But if we put all those aside, that I'm not that huge expert in, but what I can speak on the financing side, what is necessary now, it's really to get money for ideas, meaning money, capital at risk, capital that is ready to be risked, be it business angels, be it venture funds, be it, we don't have enough recourse for these innovative ideas and entrepreneurs to even try to develop them. That's my humble opinion, that banks are not readily serving those part of clients, let's say, because they're simply too risky. Yes, there are some programs, there are some grants, there are some, but this is if you want really to roll out on a larger scale and really create a digital platform and really encourage entrepreneurs and make them stay here, attract talented young people and give them opportunity to work. Ultimately, you need seed capital, and that's a challenge. That's a challenge.
Right. Okay, thanks a lot, Dubravka. I used the opportunity to make already a second round almost. So I leave 7-8 minutes that we are still having for Gorana and Branko. Since Dubravka mentioned, and myself being a professor, I have to come to the major issue, that's people, right? All this, what we are doing is because of the people. It's not for the sake of whatever else. And the human being has to be in the center of our thoughts. So maybe Gorana, having in mind that we are witnessing something that somebody is calling like a war for talents. How difficult is to find now, how difficult is to retain talents in the company, what to do with them in order to give them a proper position and proper career path, in a sense. How to do, we are talking reskilling, upskilling, trying to somehow not to be replaced by new technologies. How to position those skills with new technologies, and actually maybe some experience from Generali in that sense. Branko, of course, that's a similar question for you, although I would have a number of other questions, but I think we have to talk about people. People in this heart, in the center of our story. We have to do everything to open their minds, to open their creativity, to open their entrepreneurial spirit. All of us are having some type of possibility for doing some small innovation, for being creative. It's not just given. It can be developed, if I can put this up. So Gorana, please, some of your experiences and how further to push, I would say, this diversity upward, where to bring the education on that side. That Dubravka was luckily giving the example of having on these technological parts pretty much of equal on the gender side.
Yes, this fight for talents, to keep them, but also to find new talents is one of our 5 top priorities for the future, not only for Generali, but for the industry. And the most important is that we are aware of this today. And today we have to do a lot. And this is something, I don't know if we are late or not, but we need to increase the speed to first of all, to show to our talents, to give them a field, to show what they can to show us. Secondly, to offer right set of reskilling, upskilling courses. What we have in Generali, and I'm very happy for that, is 4,000 online courses available for our employees. Some of them are just tutorials. Okay, everybody, and new generation, we want to have some fast answers on some difficulties. Okay, so we have small tutorials, but we also have some serious business trainings there, and it's available. And it's very important not only to have available training, but also to find a way how to implement it, how to show these new skills. This is our race that we have today. But at the end, first we have to change. I have to change. My colleagues have to change. We have to not only to change, but to show that we have changed. We need to have new technical, digital skills, new behavior, new communication skills. Everything is needed, and then talent will stay with us. Today we had a long meeting of our staff, and we were talking about projects for 2021. And every project will be or run by talent or the talents will be included. We really think that practice is needed for them. Not only theory, not only education. Education is great, but they also need to show it and to test it, to feel it, to find the right field to show what they learned. What we also do in Generali, accept all these talent trainings, we are trying to show the future. I'm telling often to my colleagues, I don't ask you to change because I want to, but I'm giving you the picture of the world in 2030. In this world, it's not enough, for example, an accountant, that you are very advanced in Excel. Absolutely not. You are perfect 5 years ago or today, but in 10 years from now, it's not something that I want you to change. Look, this is the world in 2030, so we have to adjust. This is our secret recipe.
Super. We have to look at the future. So Branko, what is the future of work and what is the skill gap that you are witnessing in your bank and in particular now, since your bank is acquiring one of the biggest banks in Serbia, and I'm sure that you're going to have a hell of a job in trying to identify proper talents, the right person for the right job, right? So how is your view on that? And I think this will be the last comment because I think we are having extra 2-3 minutes.
So future is definitely a key term, especially in this time of a serious fundamental disruption. And I'm afraid that we are not, in many situations, we are not training our talents for the future. We are not developing future-proof talents. Actually, on the contrary, we are many times, too many times, training the talents for the past, for something which does not have future, or even doing something in between. We are training them for something which has future, and then when they come back to the workplace after the training session, they get a completely different, they even get
mismatch
for that. Exactly, they even get punished for what they learned at the future-proof training. So, an employee of the future definitely has 3 characteristics. Firstly, he or she has to understand how the data is turned into insight in this, contemporary and future digital environment. Secondly, entrepreneurial approach is going to become key advantage, and actually even a necessity, simply because there's no permanent job anymore. You cannot count on having the same job until you retire. So you have to have this entrepreneurial skill and approach in your approach to jobs and to work to really survive in this kind of much less structured, much more lively environment. And thirdly, what I mentioned at the beginning, the employee of the future will have to have a very high ethical standards, you know, and none of these three characteristics at the moment is really fulfilled in what we usually do with the talent, and even more so what we actually usually dictate through the cultures, through dominant cultures in the corporates, which are still mainly quite hierarchical, quite command driven, and unfortunately not entrepreneurial enough. So in this kind of environments, going back to the previous question, is also very, very difficult to change mindset. You know, with existing kind of current year individual results based bonus systems, you cannot do it. And I think it's time to realize it. It's time to understand that we are sabotaging ourselves without noticing it, that changing the mindset, training the talent for the future is as much a structural, systemic challenge as anything else. It's not.
And I think in that sense, we are having Valentina, but in that sense, I will just round off this. I think all three of you should, as a lead example, try to show what are really the major issues on this, like you said at the end, with ethic being so important. And I invite you really to step up much more often and talk about this, because this is the best way, like Gorana said, to explain to the people in experience-based story, to show up how the things can be done in a professional, normal, and future look like way. Thank you all panelists.
Goran,
yes, please.
Goran, if I can just say as a food for thought,
yes,
for
please.
those listening, the change in the mindset in my mind is called flexibility. We just need to learn to be and become more flexible on all fronts.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Professional.
That was the issue that you pointed out at the end. Thanks a lot to everybody. I now transfer back, I think, to our organizer, thanking them as well for this really special event. Thank you all, guys.